And Christ is in every believer in the person of the Holy Spirit. And God is in every believer in the person of the Holy Spirit. So what we have, I should say who we have, is the Holy Spirit living in our bodies. Came in the night we got saved. And the Bible promises He will never leave us, nor will He ever forsake us. And Romans 8:9 says, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of His. In 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 says, what? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, which you have of God, which is in you, and you're not your own, you're bought with a price. And Galatians 4:6, get it right, says, God has given us the Spirit of His Son, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. Tonight I got saved as an 11-year-old boy. Somebody moved into my body. And that somebody is as real as my mother, as real as my wife, as real as my 4 children, as real as my 9 grandchildren. That somebody who lives in my body is as real as the dearest friend I have. That somebody is the Holy Spirit. I think sometimes sermons about the Holy Spirit confuse us doctrinally about the Holy Spirit. We sometimes hear such statement as the blessed Holy Spirit, the third person in the Godhead. You ever heard that expression before? Yeah. I've heard it many, many times. And we mean well by the statement, but I'm afraid when somebody hears us say the Holy Spirit is the third person in the Godhead, that they immediately think, well, God is number 1, and Jesus is number 2, and the Holy Spirit is number 3. And there is no 1, 2, 3 in the Godhead. There's only a 1 and a 1 and a 1 in the Godhead. Each one being co-equal. The Holy Spirit and God are synonymous in the Bible. So what I have is the Holy Spirit in my body. We sometimes say to a man, clean your heart out and God will give you more of the Holy Spirit. But the truth of the matter is, nobody can have more of the Holy Spirit than anybody else. 2 problems with that statement about cleaning your heart out and God will give you more of the Holy Spirit. Problem number 1 is, your heart is not a receptacle. Like a glass. And problem number 2 is the Holy Spirit is not a substance like water in a jug, and you don't get a little more of Him, and a little more of Him, and a little more of Him. The Holy Spirit is a person, and when you get saved, you get all the person there is of the Holy Spirit. You don't get Him in little parts. When you got married, your wife's a person. You got all of her when you married her. There may be more of her now than there was when you got her. But when you got her, you got all of her the day you got her. You didn't get her in parts and pieces. Now when you got the Holy Spirit, you got all the Holy Spirit you'll ever get.